pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you for everybody coming out tonight. Be passing around the minutes from the May 4th meeting for signature. Is there any additions or corrections to the May 18th meeting? Any additions or corrections to the May 18th minutes? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion at this time.
So moved.
Second.
And a motion by Mr. Bray, a second by Mr. Allery. I will remove myself and vote as well. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those pass. Any old business in front of this board tonight? What's that?
You can't hear you.
I'm talking loud. I can talk louder. Okay. People think I yell, so I'm just talking. That's all right. No old business, so new business tonight will be the Kokomo C-Store site plan acceptance. Rick Berger.
Thank you. My name is Rick Berger. I'm with JPS Consulting Engineers, 11 Municipal Drive, Fishers, Indiana. And we are requesting to be accepted for the upcoming next Drainage Board meeting for the Kokomo C-Store located at the northwest corner of Dixon Road and State Road 26.
So we're looking for acceptance of schedule for a public hearing that night, correct?
Correct.
The next meeting, Michelle's when?
July 6th.
July 6th at 5 o'clock. Any questions for Mr. Berger? Greg, I know you had a question a moment ago.
Yeah, I was just wanted to make sure Mr. Berger was aware that he has submitted for his stormwater permit, but it's in the payment section, so the review doesn't start until the permit gets paid. And that runs concurrently with this process, because normally the stormwater permit is approved for Drainage Board approval. So I just wanted to make sure he was on track with that.
We'll make sure we do that.
And I know this will come up during the public hearing, but I believe that you've changed the entrance?
Yes, yes. We've, working through the traffic study with the Department of Transportation, NDOT, we were allowed to get a right in and a right out on the southwest corner of the property onto State Road 26. But working with the city and John Pike, we negotiated an access that will align with the intersection to the north of State Road 26. And that's where we've
And
allowed.
you're not planning on a access from 26 then, is it?
A right in and a right out only on the far west corner of our site, so it's away from the traffic signal. It's 100 and some feet away from that or more.
So you won't be able to turn left out of...
No, there's no left turn
onto
opportunities
26.
or anything. NDOT wouldn't accept it. In that traffic study, you should be getting a copy of that. It should have been submitted as well.
Any other questions, any comments? Does this board want to entertain acceptance and set it for a public hearing on July 6th?
So moved.
I got a motion by Mr. Olery. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Bray. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I vote aye as well. We'll see you on July 6th at 5 o'clock.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, next order of business would be Resolution HCDB 2604, and its acceptance of an encroachment from the Maria Coons Regulated Drain, Beth Lucas, 3388 West, 400 South.
I thought she was gonna be here tonight, so I don't know if she's on her way. I have no idea.
Sir,
You wanna push that down the
We,
agenda?
we can push it to the bottom.
Yep.
Then we'll go to the Raymond Stump. Is that what we would go to, or go to the HCDB 2602 and 2603, the Maria Coons Regulated Drain Reconstruction?
I would go into the public hearing, yes.
I'd entertain a motion to go out of regular drainage board into a public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bray,
Second.
second by Mr. Allery. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I say aye as well. So we're in a public hearing at this time, and Greg, I believe you're gonna, or is it Paul?
Paul's gonna start us out.
So first, I'm just going to kind of do what we've been doing here lately, just give a brief description of the drain and a history of it.
And speak loud, Paul.
Yes,
He's
sir.
having trouble
Okay, I'm
hearing.
gonna get closer to the mic, maybe.
All right. So the Maria Coons Regulated Drain is located in southwestern Harrison Township near County Road 350 West and State Road 26. Contains 2,777 feet of open ditch and 4,834 feet of drainage tile, ranging in size from 12-inch to 8-inch. The tiled portion begins in the woods half a mile south of 26 and runs north and west before outletting to the open ditch portion beginning at 350 West, just south of 350 South. The open ditch runs north, crosses to the west side of 350 West, and continues north through several homes until it outlets to an unregulated ditch at 350 West, 700 feet south of 300 South. This drain benefits a watershed containing 395.8 acres spread across 68 parcels. The drain was first made into a court drain in 1888. At that time, only the tiled portion was regulated. The first assessment was set in 1972 at a rate of 85 cents per acre with a $3 minimum fee. In 93, the then owner of Etherington Estates petitioned to have the open ditch added to the regulated drain. This was approved. And in 1995, the assessment was increased to $3.75 an acre with a minimum fee of $18.75, which is the current assessment. As far as the history of work, aerial maps show that the open ditch west of 350 had been cleared around 1968, and some portions of that same section were cleaned in the 1990s as homes were being built. Repeated tree root obstructions in the tiled portion paralleling the east side of 350 West led to the trees along the road being removed in 2003. Tree roots have been cleaned from the north side of 26 multiple times through the 90s and the 2010s, but have infiltrated the tile again. And in 2007, the tile was replaced under State Road 26 by a directional bore that was increased from a 12 to an 18. In 2010, the open ditch was cleaned from the culvert pipe on the west side of 350 West, running north for 1,000 feet to the edge of the woods. And then the open ditch on the east side of 350 was cleaned in the 2016-2017 time period. And then beginning in 2017, we added this ditch to our spray work orders, and it gets gets sprayed every 2 years to prevent woody vegetation from growing back on the sections that we have cleaned. More recently, we have repaired several tile holes on both sides of State Road 26, but much more work is needed. As I mentioned, the current assessment set back in 95, $3.75 an acre, $18.75 for a minimum fee. Current assessment is $1,964 a year. And the status of the fund is $877.23. That's with one work order left open to clean 1,000 feet of the open ditch that hasn't been cleaned previously through all the homes on the west side of 350 through the wooded lots. And that will likely put the drain into debt by the time that is accomplished. But that work is set to be completed by September. From here, Greg is going to go into the details of the reconstruction.
So, our proposed reconstruction, is going to be armoring a section of the open ditch on 3446 South, 350 West, right where it turns, a 90-degree turn. That area has been a problem for quite some time, so that is part of this reconstruction. then we will be replacing the 12-inch tile south from the open ditch all the way to State Road 26 as an 18-inch tile. So we're upsizing that tile to accommodate the watershed's needs. After that, we will be replacing 8-inch tile on the very south end of the watershed, which is an 8-inch tile running through the woods. So we'll be clearing out those trees. That tile is completely infiltrated with tree roots and does not work. So that section will be opened up. So, with that being said, one of the main things about this reconstruction that we've worked diligently on is trying to keep the price tag of this reconstruction at or below $150,000. Because once we exceed $150,000 in an estimated cost, then that switches our processes from a quoting process to a public bid process. And when a project goes to public bids, my office will no longer do the paperwork, all the engineering, the design work for the drain. It has to go to an engineer, and then all those documents. So that alone, we did look at doing that, and that alone was gonna be close to $80,000 that you would be paying instead of that money going into the ground to help with your drainage. That money would go to soft costs. So that's why we've really narrowed this down, the scope of this project down, to keep that price tag under that 150. So right now, we're estimating our cost to be approximately $133,742. Now, one of the benefits that we have that we've talked about in our town hall meeting was we have a few dollars left of ARP funds, and we're going to utilize those ARP funds to offset the total cost of this project. So in ARP funds, we plan to utilize $60,556.40, and we are taking it down to the very last penny because that's how much I have. So we're going to use it all on your project to make this thing work and more palatable for everyone. So, with that being said, that brings the proposed estimate down to $104,258. And that would be collected over a 5-year period of time with a minimum $100 fee. And that's what everyone received in the mail of what they're looking at paying over this time period. After the reconstruction is paid off, because it gets paid off in 5 years, then it would go back to the annual maintenance cost. And on our annual maintenance, we had set in the second proceeding a $50 minimum fee, and we're only going to collect $10,000 total for the annual assessment. So what this does is we will be converting from a price per acre and a minimum fee, what you currently pay, to a minimum fee, land use, and soil type. So in 2006, Howard County digitized our watersheds, and we went to a GIS system, and we utilize a software that can digitize or take each parcel and cookie cut your land use and your soil type and make it equal across the entire watershed. It's an area weighted averaging, so that if you have the same soil type on your parcel that 3 houses down has, you're paying those same factors, those same rates. So it takes the bias out of the calculation.
If you don't, what happens?
Just one second. Let me get through all this, and then we will take comments, okay? So after the 5 years on the reconstruction, it drops down to the annual maintenance. Now, that annual maintenance is going to cover any additional cost on the tile repairs, the sections of tile that we did not replace. Some of that could possibly need to be replaced in the future. It's not in the best of shape. And it will also, we will be maintaining the open ditch every 8 to 10 years. and it would stay on the spray program. Every other year, the woody vegetation gets sprayed on that ditch so that it keeps your costs down, not having the trees grow back up to where we have to cut them off. It's much more expensive doing it that way. Now, if the annual assessment comes to 4 times the annual cost, or 4 times the annual collection, we actually have the opportunity to shut that assessment off for a year, and if we spend out of the account, then we turn it back on. So I don't know that this watershed's ever gotten to that point of it being shut off, but potentially there's an opportunity there, but keeping our maintenance on track with an eight-year clean out, 8 to 10 years, and the spray program, it should carry itself with the numbers that we're providing here tonight. I would say that's all I have for the board, unless the board has questions.
Would you review the numbers again? I'm not getting the math to work out.
You're not getting the math to work out. Okay, well, let me back up to the math. I guess I should have put the surveyor's report in here. I had it laid out better than that. Thank you. All right, so the estimated project cost is $133,474, or I'm sorry, $742. That's what we're estimating the project cost. We have estimated benefits of $807,689.58. So the board's cost to benefit ratio is 5.39 to 1. Okay? Now, where did those numbers come from? Project costs $133,742. We have put in here a 12% contingency of $16,049. We have a debt of the drain between the money that's currently in the fund versus the quote that we have to clean the open ditch. The debt of the drain is going to be, at the end of that cleaning, will be $15,024. So that gives us a total estimated cost of $164,815. Subtract from that the ARP funds that we're going to apply to this drain of $60,556.40. So that leaves the landowner's assessment roll to a total of $104,258.60. How's that for math?
And now that I have all the numbers, it works.
That makes much better sense? Good. Okay, and then, yeah, the maintenance is be $10,000 annual assessment with a $50 minimum. Any other questions from the board?
No, I don't think, so at this point, we would do comments from the audience, you come up to the,
Wait. I think you would do comments, you would read your objections. Read your objections. I have to file a written,
You don't have to read them all verbatim. You can summarize them.
Acknowledge them?
Or just acknowledge that you received the objection.
okay.
okay, we got 3 objections, one from Beth Grimes. And I'm not sure, she lives in California. And then I got a, from Jonathan Stout, and he had 3 issues: impact on property, financial burden, and he said he would plan to discuss at this meeting. And then we had a written complaint as well from Rebecca, and I'm sorry, the last name is Sleutges. Not sure how to say that, at 3964 South, 350 West. And she had some questions. When was the project to begin? Will property owners be notified before the work starts? Will access to private property be required? After construction is completed, will properties be restored to the original condition? Specifically, will yards be graded, reseeded, restored? And she she believes it'll create a financial hardship for her and her family.
For the record, the one from Beth Grimes is not a complaint or an objection, it's just asking the proper notice be given to certain property owners, that's all.
Okay.
So I do have written evidence to address those for the hearing.
Preceding HCDB 2602 and 2603, reconstruction and reassessment of the Maria Coons regulated drain, surveyor's filing of written notice pursuant to IC 36-9-27-52. The undersigned Howard County Surveyor hereby files in rebuttal to all duly filed objections his written evidence, together with the following additional facts and evidence. 1, Beth Grimes, this property is within the boundaries of the watershed, having benefit from the completed proposed project. 2, its splits occur on a yearly basis and will be changed in the next pay period. To the second complainant, Mr. Stout, this property is not within the boundaries of the watershed and will be moved from the proposed project. 3, Rebecca S.L.E. Slages, I'm sorry, thank you. This property is within the boundaries of the watershed, having benefited from the complete proposed project. This is filed this date, 15th of June 26, Greg Lake. So then we were going to listen to comments from the audience. We were going to do people that were in favor first, and then after we heard from those, we would hear people that were opposed. So if anybody's in favor of this project, they could come up to the podium now and say your name and address and that you was in favor.
All right.
Okay, since there's none, we would now hear people that are opposed.
So if you have a question, please come up to the mic, state your name and address.
My name's Rebecca Slages. I live at 3964 South, 350 West. I'm not opposed of cleaning up the mess. I'm not opposed to that. I'm opposed mainly for how much it costs. But first of all, I need you to tell me what's a watershed?
So here's a watershed. All right, if you cup your hand, there's a line in the bottom of your hand. All right, consider that line the drain, the regulated drain. So when a drop of water lands on your hand, everywhere on the rim, water will flow to that drain. That drain is your outlet. So even though you live at the top of the rim, your water's traveling down to that drain. And that watershed is what the gray-purple area is on that map that you had, your Exhibit B. That purple area is your hand, that catchment area. So water that falls on the ground comes to that drain inside that purple area.
Okay, so it's going to drain north.
North, and for your particular lot, it will drain to the east as well, north and east.
Okay, where's it start and where's it stop?
So the watershed starts at 450 south, almost Tipton County, and it travels all the way to 300 south, almost to 300 south, about 325 south.
So all that water from Tipton County is going to drain north
Yes, ma'am.
uphill, and then it's going to drain where to?
It continues going to the Wildcat. It's just the drain from 350 west, where it crosses the road going east, before you get to 300 south, that open ditch right there that is running east, it's not regulated from 350 onto the Wildcat. It's only been regulated on what's showing on that map.
So is it going to be regulated?
No, ma'am. What you see on that map is what's regulated.
Okay. Okay. Forgive me, I have a hard time understanding this.
It's all right.
Okay, to go back to where you said if the soil doesn't match, or if it does, what happens then? Say my soil doesn't match to my neighbor's.
So if you take your assessment, that piece of paper that we mailed you, and you walk to your neighbor's house and say, well, how much are you paying in this assessment? And that number's different. The reason it's different is because of the difference in soil type and land use on an area weighted averaging. So in other words, how can I explain this? So we take your parcel and we cookie cut the house and your hard surfaces out of it. Now, your particular parcel, you only have grass left, so it's all residential. Some people's parcels will have farm ground and woods on it. Those have a different drainage factor to them, so that a house on one side of the watershed is paying the same factoring rate as another side of the watershed. So it takes the ambiguity out of the description, out of the assessment. So instead of, it makes it more fair for everyone in the watershed when we split it up based upon soil type, land use, and a minimum fee, compared to just a price per acre.
So if you have bad soil, you're gonna pay more.
Correct. If you have soil that doesn't drain, you end up paying more because it requires the drain to function more. That's accurate. And if you have more hard surfaces, you pay more because water can't infiltrate into asphalt and hard surfaces.
How deep are these drains?
They vary between, normally it's about 5 to 6 foot deep.
So, see, I don't get it. If I'm at 350, I'm on the corner, okay, and I'm downhill from my neighbor Lucas and all them. I'm downhill, and you're gonna run water uphill.
Your particular water runs east to the drain before it runs north.
East to where?
The tile, when you look at that map, if you go straight east of your property, that's
Okay.
the tile.
So like 2 houses over from me, I understand, I don't know if they're here or not, but they should be because their whole backyard and swimming
Correct.
pool and everything floods every year.
That tile is in their backyard, and that's why it's flooding.
Right.
So your surface water flows to that location.
So I'm going this way, then I'm going east,
You go east first, then north.
then north. Okay, and when they're doing this and everything, who's gonna inspect this, that it's done right?
My office,
So how often are you gonna be out there checking?
all day long while they're putting it in,
Every day?
every day.
That's a guarantee.
It has been so far.
So I don't want this done right and then the big rain and then I'm gonna be flooded. Because I used to flood, my front yard used to flood all the time.
Right.
Then the state finally got on the ball and got the ditches cleaned out and went deeper ditches. But now they just let them grow.
Right.
You know, and the weeds and the rocks and the farmers, they won't clean up their mess where their corn stalks just go in there and flood the drains and the water can't go nowhere. So, and
And those corn stalks have been there for years. I drive by it every day.
Yeah.
And in the last year or so, they have been cleaned up. I mean, better since the state came in there. It's been a little bit better. But what effect, the farmer, I believe, put in new tile in the field across 26.
Probably some.
Did that affect that drain? That would have helped it, or, I mean,
It will,
it's new.
yeah.
Yeah, it's new.
Yeah, Salisbury's done a lot of work, and it's not on this particular drain, it's on down on the William Reed or
But I
on
would think,
down.
I thought it would help them.
so
It-
you can guarantee me when this is all finished and done and we have a rain for 3 days, that I'm not gonna be flooded?
No, ma'am, I can guarantee you
It's
that
not gonna
once this
back up.
drain reaches its capacity, you're gonna flood, and we continue to get rain, you're gonna flood just the same. But what this is doing is it's reducing how often those floods occur. So in other words, once you hit a 100-year rain event, no, ma'am,
So you're telling
it's
me
gonna
that
flood.
we're gonna put all this money into this, and if it rains for 2 days, then my poor neighbor, 2 houses from me, they're gonna be flooded all over again.
It depends on the rain event. If we get 7 inches of rain in an hour like we did last spring, it's gonna flood. There's no size of pipe that will carry that kind of water. It's still going to flood. But on your normal rains, 80% of the time, because right now they aren't even getting 80% of the time, but 80% of the time, we get rains that we have designed these systems to handle. So there's that 20% that you still have an opportunity to flood. So that's why when you ask me to guarantee it, my answer is no, I will not.
So what I'm saying is I don't flood. I only flooded from across the road of 26. It flooded over me because the underground drains were clogged up and nobody, you know. I even
Nobody took care of them.
Right. Nobody cared.
Correct. And I will tell you, the state doing the side road ditches have helped you out tremendously. But it also brings that water to these regulated drains. The state road side ditches go both directions. One side goes to Maria Coons, another side goes to the William Reed. And having those drains functioning and open is what's keeping you dry. When they quit working is when you'll start flooding again. And that's why we're doing these
And they'll
reconstructions.
hear from me.
Absolutely, and that's why we cleaned the William Reed open ditch last year, I believe it was. So we're working in the area trying to keep everything flowing. That's what the surveyor's job is to keep the water flowing in the regulated drains. 'Cause that's what your all's outlet is.
Okay, and the drain, once it reaches to the east side and it's gonna drain north, right? Does it cross over 350?
It crosses to the west once, it goes through an open ditch, and then it crosses back east.
Crosses through that cornfield, right? Okay, those ditches are just full of trees, little trees. I'm talking about little trees. Why don't you go down there, you know, and bulldoze them out?
Are we talking about the west side or the east side of 350?
East side,
Those
where
trees.
Bob and
where-
all of them live.
Yep, those trees right there on the front of that open ditch and where the tile is going to be replaced, those are actually gonna get cut down. So on the drain line itself, where we've been struggling with tree root penetration.
Yeah.
And down that entire fence road along 26, all those trees are gonna get cut down and removed. Because that's what we're struggling with, is just trying to keep trees out of the tile. We
Yeah.
can't, they're way too big. The open ditch, no, I'm talking the tiled portion.
Yeah, but still, the trees are harm to the open ditch.
Not, the only,
They either, listen, I've lived there 47 years, I know, I drive that road every single day. And they're either rotten and they fall in the ditch and they lay there. They're
Right.
never cleaned up.
and when we are notified of it or we find it, we do go out and clean them up. We've brushed the east side of that first stretch of the open ditch, and we've been meaning to keep it sprayed. Part of it got away from us on a section of it, but yes, that's the goal, is to keep the trees off of that ditch.
Okay.
Not both sides, just one side.
Okay, now about the money situation. What are we talking about? Say for me, what are we talking about?
What is on your piece of paper that you got mailed?
It should be highlighted for you.
So,
Well, it says here, it's gonna be $1,216.11, plus another 94 or something, 94.14 for maintenance.
okay, so the $1,200 one, that is the reconstruction. That is the total price. So you would divide that by 5, and that's what you would pay on an annual basis for the next 5 years.
So you're telling me next year, my taxes are gonna go up about $225 plus the 94?
No, the 94 will not be collected until the reconstruction is paid off. So the $94
So
won't kick in for 5 years.
So
So-
this is supposed to be paid off in 5 years?
The reconstruction will be paid off in 5 years. And year 6, instead of paying the 200 and some, it will be dropped down to that annual assessment, that $94.
So $225 plus what I pay now?
No. What you pay currently to the Maria Coons drain, you will not pay. You will only pay the reconstruction cost for the next 5 years.
But this will be added on to my property tax, right?
Yes, ma'am. That way you get to pay that total sum, 2 payments each year. So you get a total of 10 payments out of it. Spring and fall.
Yeah, but that's $225 plus. I must have bad soil. How much is yours? How much is-
That's why I'm trying to say, you can't really
How much
calculate
is
it
yours?
that way.
How much?
Almost 1760.
Main Street, I have one said it's based on the land and the soil.
Land
But I
and
have-
soil.
You have really bad soil.
But that's why I said, how do we know if we have bad, how is,
Yeah.
do we have, who has the bad soil?
Okay, before we get there, let me finish hers, and then you're welcome to come up to the podium and ask.
Well, that's just what I'm asking it too, so go ahead,
What was that?
about the bad soil.
Oh, yeah, about the beds. How do we know we got bad soil? I tell you what, you know what? I had to put in a new septic system, and about probably 10 years ago. I've lived there since 1976, I believe, or 75. Anyway, they come out and tell me I've got bad soil. I said, what do you mean I got bad soil? I said, what's that mean? And he said, well, he said that means that, you know, we got to figure a way out to give you good soil. And I said, I've lived here all my life, you know, mostly. And how's it turned bad when it was good back then, when I've kept it up, seeded it and everything else? And I said, well, what do we do? And he said, he was a new guy, and he was from Lafayette. And he said, I'm just going to be honest with you. He said, money talks. Those are the words he said to me. Money talks.
What did it say?
What?
The money, what did it say?
It said she doesn't have to pay anybody off. That's what she-
Yeah.
that's what it said.
Okay.
And I had to pay $250 for him to okay my bad soil. There's something wrong with that system. There's something wrong when you tell me I've got bad soil, you know, and then
I'm not
money
telling
will
you
talk.
have bad soil. I'm telling you the soil type on your property has a very specific factor that we use in our calculation. And what you have on your property is the same factoring on
Do you
across
send
it.
us a report?
I do not, but I'm happy to show it to you.
Well, looks like you would send each one of us you know,
Ma'am,
good soil, bad soil, cost more, cost less. Why
the
wouldn't you do that?
The calculations that goes into this is, it doesn't work. I'll just have to show it to you. I mean, I'm more than happy to have you come into the office and I'll show you how we do the calculation. It's a lot of spreadsheets.
Did you say that was a computer-generated software?
It is. Yep.
Why can't it just compute that everybody's got good soil? I mean, come on, you know, let's be honest here.
It's
Is anybody upset
it's
about
not
this?
necessarily even.
Oh, no.
Let's say
It's costing me $2,800.
here we go. Let me explain this to you.
Tornado.
You should be up here, not me.
If
You're doing great.
If you said everybody has good soil, now we're back to that same factoring of a minimum fee and a price per acre. So it's not consistent across the watershed. We are making it more fair to all owners across the watershed by changing the way we do our assessments.
How do you know the grade of the ground? Nobody's been out and taking soil samples from my house.
Mine either.
The entire state has soil mapping done on the soil.
But it changes over years, it changes. It
The-
changed for me, for my septic
The
system. You know what they made me do?
Okay, hold it. Time out. You guys need to understand the difference of what you're asking. A septic soil report is completely different than a soil series that we are assessing on. Now, the same concept, the soil series is in a septic report, yes, but they're on-site doing the sand, silt, and clay of every horizon in that soil to confirm that the soil mapping,
So the
Meets.
water will flow, right?
and so that your
So
septic,
the water will flow.
so that your septic system will drain accordingly and function.
Right.
That is different than what I'm telling you we are using the soil reports, the soil mapping for. It's a different monster.
That's not right. You should send somebody out there and check our soil.
I'm sorry, ma'am, we do not do that.
So you're basing it on the clay ratio, how much, they say. how
We're
much clay is
basing,
it?
when we look at the soils, the factoring of the soils, we look at the sand, silt, and clay in that map profile. And that mapping profile, so you have Miami soils or Blounce or Genesee soils. Each one of those soil types is defined by the state on how well it drains. And that's what the factoring is based on. It has nothing to do with your septic. It has nothing to do with your very site-specific soil borings for a septic. That's a different calculation completely. Because those you're looking at specific horizons.
You're basing it on what the state says is typically what's under the ground.
What's under the ground
Topsoil here.
that has been mapped. That is correct.
And how many trust the state?
Did you have any other questions?
Yeah, I feel like I'm fighting, but I'm losing the battle here. Because I don't think any of you guys up here, you guys all look bored to death and thinking, I wish you'd sit down and shut up. That's just the impression. You know.
Not
They're
at
not
all.
gonna change their mind at any
I
time.
know that.
I mean, this is happening whether we want it to or not. We're stuck with this payment whether we want it or not. So I don't really, this is just formality. This is just to make you feel better, is all this is.
No.
Correct? Am I correct on that?
This isn't fair.
Oh, we haven't voted on anything yet.
There has been no decision made. That's what this hearing is for. It's a public hearing for input for the board to take under consideration of whether this project moves forward or not.
We have had like this happen, and we had like this ARP money that they used for it to help offset it. We had one, they just turned it down flat, and we said, okay, good enough. So we just didn't fix anything, took the money somewhere else and fixed somebody else's drain, and now they're coming back to us saying, whoa, we got a problem, help us. And you said no.
Yeah.
So now they're in a world of hurt, the people that turned us down, and we just try to help the ones we
Instead
can.
of saying no, why didn't you find another solution? Now you
Well,
let
because
it
they
go.
didn't want
Fix
it.
the drain is the solution.
That's
The
only-
watershed, the owners inside the watershed, just like
Yeah.
here, they did not want to spend those dollars, even though we were offsetting the total cost. They didn't want to spend those dollars.
Who
So
didn't want to spend it?
the owners of the
Watershed.
watershed, just like you, it was a different project, but the owners inside the watershed did not want to spend the money. So we took those ARP dollars and applied them to a different project. That's how we got to your project.
Okay, I'm not against the drain myself. I'm against putting it to all of us to pay for this.
That's
It's
how,
just-
that's how watersheds work, is the owners
Okay, let me ask
inside
you
the
something.
watershed
I've
pay
been there
for it.
47 years. All that money I paid in for 47 years, where'd that go?
Into
It sure didn't
fixing,
go into tile.
it
sure
went into
didn't.
fixing the tile and cleaning the open ditch.
It's never been done. I've been there 47 years.
It has been done. I've been on that ditch many, many times over my 20 years here. Just a moment, sir.
If you allow me,
Go
if you don't mind.
No.
Because I understand exactly what you're talking about, but.
Can we have him come up to the-
Yeah, can you come up to the podium, please?
From the
Dave.
first meeting, based on, from the first meeting versus now.
Let me just say this, okay? For the first meeting, I did not get no letter. I did nothing. If you're gonna have this major messing with me, you need to send out certified letters that I have to sign for, that I can be at a meeting. I was not aware until I got this bill. Did you have one back in May?
We had a town hall meeting.
Wasn't aware
January,
of that
December or
either?
January?
Yeah, I think it was January.
You know, and I've heard I'm not the only one that did not get a letter. if you're talking about my money, I want to be here. And you should be sending out registered letters that I can sign and know that I've got an appointment.
But then you gotta pay more for that. That's the
You
problem.
pay for it. You guys are the ones sending them out. Gee
I-
whiz,
I'm-
if I'm sending a letter out, am I gonna have the guy that's getting the letter pay the stamp?
I understand, but the watershed pays for everything that happens to that watershed. So it's
It
your
hadn't-
money that we're
But
spending.
it hadn't happened yet. You
We-
should be paying for the letters to be sent out for us to be here. That's
Okay.
before, you know, it hadn't happened. Nothing's
The
happened.
reconstruction hasn't, but anytime we do work like that, that's where the money comes from, is from the watershed.
Yeah, but it's just not fair. I wasn't here for the meeting.
I understand,
And I know you're
and
probably glad I wasn't. but,
No, I
you know,
wish you
I'm-
would've been.
I'm fighting for, you know, I work hard for my money.
I wish you would've
I
been.
don't have money just to throw away that I can probably guarantee you in 5 years, it'll probably work. And just like you said, maintenance gonna be done every 10 years. Maintenance gotta be done on that every 2 years. You've gotta keep up with the system. You gotta keep things flowing. You know, those tractors goes in there and they break them tiles and pipes and everything. So it's broke. It's not gonna be found out for 10 years. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's gotta be inspected more than that.
it is inspected more than that. We do maintenance on the open ditch. We clean the open ditch every 8 to 10 years is what we're trying to get to with our entire program. Because right now, most of our open ditches hadn't been cleaned in 50 to 100 years.
I agree there.
So we're trying to, watershed by watershed, improve it.
You have it back here in just a second.
Name and address, please.
Name is Mark Meeks, 3522 West, 350 South, right on the corner of 350 and 350. And I was at the first meeting. And I wasn't aware of any of that information, you know, I just have a house and I know the ditch runs down, I don't know the particulars about it. But I knew I'd pay on it. And you guys went through the process of what needed to be done. And I mean, it made sense, you know, as far as, because I've dealt with some of the flooding going on and something needs to be done about that. And if it needs to be increased, so be it. And part of it really was, here's to find out this fund was gonna get thrown back in the kitty, because the last time they mentioned it, but nobody, you know, started out like a 74,000, but they didn't know where it was gonna end up at by the time, which, okay, it's at 60 now instead of 74. And then obviously the bottom line to the initial project, so you can start subtracting. To my understanding, like before, it was a very minimal amount of money that was going towards maintenance of the ditch, which, again, I'm no ditch expert or not country person, but it sounded like maybe it's kind of on the minimum anyway, so they're kind of playing catch up. That's why he's talking about the debt, is because they didn't have enough, these last few floods, they've had to go in and change everything. But like with what you were getting at, which kind of, you said something about fair. I noticed the property on the south side of 26, that's pretty much one property owner, isn't it?
No, there's several.
Farmers that own that stretch through there?
Yes.
And it's roughly a half a mile. And this fair proportion you're talking about. Now, you know, they have a half a mile's worth of ditch going through that property. And the rest of us that are minimal property owners, I mean, we may have, you know, 500 feet, whatever, you know, covering that same amount of distance. And I'm not about putting hardship on farmers. I mean, I appreciate their efforts and I know where they stand in the whole food chain thing. But I'm all about fair too. And what is fair for the farmer, fair for us, may not be the same thing. And I appreciate that, because I know, I was just talking to one that said he had to pay $800 just in fuel for a half a day's running of some equipment, which is, you think, I don't know, where do you survive? But it's at the same time, it's not my obligation to flip the bill for anything. So like out of that half mile that belongs to these farmers, their proportion, and then this is what was getting me hung up on, was you're basing on the soil. That's
And
how you
land
got-
use. Soil and land use.
And land use, okay, but I can't help but think, okay, we got 5 farmers that own that half a mile. To me, those five farmers own that half a mile. I mean, I don't pay anything on their half a mile. That's all on their property. It's not, I don't have access to it. Nothing drains there except for the farmland and all that. That becomes cost of farming. So that half a mile is not included in my stretch of that ditch from 26 on. We're all residentials from 26 on. So, I say on, I mean north. So, fair would be, and I don't know how it breaks down, but fair would be, okay, sorry, dude, you guys own this is on you, whatever that comes to. But it's not for me, a half a mile or a mile down the road, to pay for what he's dumping into the ditch that I'm paying for to get filled back up. Now, I understand it's gotta go somewhere. 26, they put that, I brought my drink, because I knew if I did say something. 26, they did a lot of work there on that ditch, and they put in some nice drainage, and they put up strong, stuff that's not gonna get beat up. But, that half a mile, that is clearly their property. We all, I mean, I'm willing to share my cost with all these people. If you got a house along that line, whatever you guys say it is, whatever's a fair amount, I'll be right there with you. But I don't know if those farmers thrown into this, if I'm really up for paying for these farmers sections.
So a lot of the homeowners are paying anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000, $2,800.
$3,000.
$3,000.
there. Almost
Okay.
$2,000 there.
So some of the farmers are paying upwards of $8,000 to $9,000.
I feel for them.
It's
But
it's
answer my
in the
question, what's the fair
assessment.
part?
The
Where-
fair part is in the
Are
assessment.
they included into this?
Absolutely.
So
All of
I'm
them are.
paying, I am being
Everybody
balanced out.
in that
Wait a minute, I'm
watershed.
talking, they're being balanced out, or we're being balanced out, including their, based on footage, I mean, there's a level of
No,
footage.
it's not
Now, wait a
dealing
minute,
with
wait a minute.
footage.
They've got how many, they got a half a mile. How long is that? We're what, that's not even a mile and a half long. It goes from 26 to Alto. It goes that far, right?
26 to Alto.
Yeah, this ditch.
That's for my year, $568.
This ditch, I mean, doesn't it?
No, it stops at 300, well before 300.
It stops at center?
It-
So when it
Yeah,
cuts over to
it
the
stops
east,
before
when it
300.
cuts over to the east, then it goes
That's
back to
where
those
it
farmers
stops.
back there, those ponds, and it
Yes.
stops there. So it goes to 300. So you got, what, a mile?
A mile a ditch.
Yeah. And then, so that's, we got 2/3 of, if you break it down to half miles, we got 2/3 of the overall, and they got 1/3. Then we should be paying collectively for 2/3 of this project, not
And you're,
all.
and you're not. That's the whole thing.
But
is-
that's what I'm asking you. You said we're proportionally, you're balancing it out, making it fair for everybody. How much of mine is being added onto his?
The difference, the thing that you don't have in your brain correctly. the
Pardon
thing
me?
that-
Pardon me? I don't
the
have it
thing-
in my brain correctly?
The thing that I'm not explaining correctly to you.
Thank you.
A
I
watershed.
know I'm stupid in some things, but I'm not stupid in all things.
A watershed is like an insurance policy. Think
I
of it.
understand all that. I'm not.
Okay,
I'm not here
everybody's
to
in the
squabble about that.
watershed.
We're
So
here talking about the money.
So the money-wise, you're not dealing with money based upon the lineal footage of the drain. You're dealing with the area of that purple. So everybody inside that purple area is paying the exact same amount for the soil, for the land use, and the minimum fee.
I understand that.
So when you have a large area of a 40-acre
But why is
field,
farmer's land included into my cut?
because he's part of the watershed.
Then he shouldn't be, because why should I be paying for his part?
You
I
all
don't-
are paying on the same watershed. His farm field is factored based upon the same factoring that's factored on your parcel. So land use and soil type. It's cookie cut out of the larger
There's a lot of
parcels.
purple down there.
Absolutely.
A lot of purple down there. That purple right there is that's probably more square footage than this. But yet you think it's fair for me to pay for his too.
You pay for the whole watershed.
I understand that, but you consider it fair, because you want to do it the fair way.
But if-
That's
okay,
making me
let's-
pay the same price for all of his.
In
That's
your
more square
particular,
footage than all of us combined.
in your particular case, this particular watershed doesn't have the problem of flooding on the downstream end. Normally, that's exactly what happens. So let's take Kitty
doesn't?
Run or Kirkendall. So we had to put in a large detention basin. Who's seen the dirt out on 26 and 931? The big mountain of dirt out there.
I seen the corn stalks and everything piled up on 350 last year when it flooded, so I mean, I don't know what you're talking about dirt. It flooded right there.
It's a huge detention basin trying to slow the water down from the top end of the watershed. Just like what you guys have going on here, everyone in the watershed is treated equally inside that watershed. That's the reason for the calculations.
Okay, I'd
to
like to see
cookie
the
cut
numbers.
that
I
out.
would like to see you take all that square footage, or however you break it down, and how many homeowners are involved in that, and let's see what your bottom line is, because anything north of, or south of 26, in my opinion, should be part of what I've got to pay for to be fair. You want to use the fair.
So
You wanna
if
use
that
where
was the
everybody pays
case,
same.
if that was the case, nothing south of 26 should pay into this reconstruction. in
No,
your
they should
mind.
pay their fair share, which
That
is
would be,
there.
that would be nothing
No.
if we're talking about just
No.
what we're replacing
No,
of the drain.
Okay, you say this is you say roughly this is a let's just say $130,000 project. Let's do 120, because then you just, so a third of that would be $4,000, or $40,000. So we would pay for 80, they would pay for 40.
If
We would
the,
take 2/3 of that
if the math worked out
$120,000.
that easily, yes.
Well, why doesn't it? Because we
Because-
want to be fair to those guys?
No,
instead
because
of
we're,
these people.
we're eliminating that bias out of it by going to the cookie cutting of the land
There you
use
go,
and soil
cookie
type.
cutter. Yeah, see, you're wanting to say cookie cutter, when it's a matter of.
It's an
taking
area
farmers
weighted
And
average.
saying, hey, farmer, we'll give you a break, and we're gonna let these homeowners pay half that bill too. So you don't have to pay for it.
Absolutely not. That is not what we're doing.
That's what you're doing, if you're looking at that half a mile, that half a mile as part of our total project, we'll say 1/3, and if it's $100,000, that means that we're paying, I'm sure that part of what we're expected to pay is actually covering their,
Absolutely not.
how can it not?
Because they're paying their fair share. All the farmers are paying their fair share, just like, they got a notice just like
I thought
you
that's how you
did.
came up with your percentage.
How many farmers are involved?
The total acreage is 300 and,
No, I'm talking about farmers.
I have no idea how many parcels are farmed versus
Well, you know what?
homeowners.
If I look at my lowest spec on this and I'm paying $1,000, then Lord help that farmer, because. he's
They are
got a
paying-
whole-
they're
he's
paying-
gotta be up around $100,000 then.
They are paying a significantly larger amount than the individual homeowners. Yes, they are, because their area is larger.
I mean, I'm at three
Well, that's what,
thousand,
that's
but I
what
got
based
5
on,
acres.
it's like the whole land, like my whole property is purple, so I mean, it's all,
Oh, mine is too, but I
I
got
mean,
5
it's all,
acres.
it's all prime, it's all that high.
And that's why you're at $3,000, is because you have more land in the equation.
In my soils.
Soil and land use plays in the factor of it,
So
absolutely.
you just take what you've got and multiply it by the farmers, I mean, that's.
Oh, I know,
mean,
because I'm
okay,
looking at
what
this
he's
and I
saying is
agree
these
with you, the
farmers
farmers
got
have
some-
way more land than what I do,
They
and
got a
mine's
major
5.
bill.
And
If
you've got-
what you're saying that they're paying the same percentage.
They're
as
paying
mine,
they're
And you're not
paying
even
the
putting
same.
tile on mine.
They are paying
No,
astronomical.
nothing.
Is there other
Yes.
public comment? Anybody else at the
How is
podium?
it taking so long to pay them? They're paying that much, we don't get paid off.
Okay, my name's Bob Roberts. I live 3277 South 350 West. I'm the fifth property south of 300. And I just had a question of when down the ditch on my property, there's trees, a lot of trees. I just wondered how far back from the edge of the ditch they cut those trees, if you guys know. And then I do have one tree, well, really there's 3, but one tree must be this big around, too big for me to cut, but the roots are down in the bottom of the ditch, and they are restricting the water a little bit. And I have gotten down there and tried to, it runs a chainsaw, I'll tell you that. So I just wondered if they would cut that tree, and
So
how far back from the edge of the ditch do they cut the trees?
So on the open ditch that we're going to be cleaning here between now and September, the east side of the ditch is where the trees are going to be coming off, and I believe we marked up 50 feet on that. So it'll be 50 feet from the top of the ditch bank back. Trees will be cut on the east side. The west side of the ditch, trees will be cut up the ditch bank to the top of the ditch bank. If the particular tree you're speaking of is a problem, yes, it will be taken at that time.
Yeah, but it's on the west side of the ditch.
If it's on right at the top and it's causing a problem with the ditch, it will be taken.
Huge, yes.
Trees will be taken to the top of the bank. They will be taken off. If you have a tree outside of that on the west side that you are wanting taken down, I'm having you talk directly to the contractor while he's there to where you can pay him to take it tree down. But normally, we can only clean one side of a ditch at a time. So we're going to be cleaning on the east side through your property.
Okay, well, I've got some trees that they're at the top of the ditch on the west side.
If they're
I
not,
just wondered what would be cut.
yeah, if it's not blocking the ditch or overhanging the ditch, they will be left.
Okay, but there's several on the east side that,
Yes.
and I've cut probably close to a dozen, those ash trees, they
We will be making a 50-foot wide swath through that section.
50 foot.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, that was my big problem. On what, all these logs that they're cutting?
They will be burnt up unless you want your logs.
I got a fireplace, so there's a couple of mulberry trees, it's pretty big.
I will have you talk to the contractor.
And they stack them over there and I use them.
The thing, we can do that. The thing that I can't do is have you slowing down the contractor while he's in there working. So if he doesn't have any problem throwing the logs out for you, then
Yeah, it
yes.
doesn't matter. I mean, it's not like I'm short of.
We will make you sign an agreement that you're taking those logs, but yes, we can do that.
Well, just some of them. Most of them I do not want.
Okay, well that, you need to work very closely with the contractor when he's out there on that. Because we clean it up and burn everything up while we're
If you
there.
look on the map, I'm the 5th property south of 300 there. My house is 85 feet from the edge of the ditch.
Okay.
And I'm on the west side, so.
Yep, I think I've been out to your place
That's
looking.
probably everything I needed to know, so.
So when you cut the trees, are you gonna clean the roots up too?
On an open ditch, when we cut the trees, we cut it flush with the ground. We want the roots to remain in the ditch bank.
Wash them out.
Right, cut it.
The reason we have to cut it is so that we can access the ditch and clean the ditch that 8 to 10 years. That's why we spray for the woody vegetation, so that we don't have to continue to pay to cut trees down.
It's not the trees, the roots that clog the drains.
I'm talking about the open ditch.
It doesn't matter. If the trees on the open ditch, if it's swaying over, all those roots are right there, it's keeping that water from flowing. The tree's standing up here.
Best way I can explain it to you is the open ditch has capacity to pass water. If there's a tree stump in the ditch, we remove it. But the trees on the bank that we cut down so that we can access and clean the ditch is what we are trying to keep off to lower the cost of everyone in the watershed for the next time we come through and re-dredge the ditch. It's
And all
a-
the trees they cut down, they will either burn the trees or bury them.
They will be burnt and buried, yes.
Do a lot of burning.
Yep.
That's all I had. Thank you.
I'm Vicki Smock, 3558 West, 350 South. I'm his neighbor, second to the corner. I just want to clear something up. When you say land usage, do you mean your acreage? Is that what you're meaning? What does land usage
Land
mean?
use is based upon residential, agricultural, grasslands, wooded lands, and commercials like asphalt.
Okay, because you said the price was based on land usage, so I don't
Yes.
quite understand.
So the more
that, I
hard
guess.
surface you have, the higher the factor is you pay on that area.
Okay. Next question, I think somebody had put it in one of their letters, but I don't know, how they're accessing. I don't know if they're gonna access on 350 or on my way. They'd have to go through my driveway. So I guess first question, are we gonna be notified when they're doing this? And I guess, like someone had put in their letter about accessing and I don't know what kind of digging or, damage, like they were talking about, so, reseeding. I just don't know how much this entitles, but I don't know how it's even gonna be accessed through me. It's either to me down my driveway or go in the property that's on the other
They
side.
don't access anything on yours because they're not doing anything on your property. Just
Well,
like my property,
well, the
they're not
ditch is,
doing
the ditch is right there, so I don't know how they're gonna get to the ditch. It's not on my property, but the ditch is right there between my property. So somebody's gotta get there, that they gotta go through somebody's property, and I'm not sure whose property it will go through.
Cleaned up from Harry Johnson's old property on 350.
So I just didn't know how they were
So
accessing it.
once, depending upon where you're at, and I'm happy to talk with you about
Okay,
that, but normally, once we get onto the easement, like at the open ditch.
Okay.
And replacing the 18-inch tile, or replacing the smaller tile with the 18-inch, once we're on that 150-foot easement, we stay on that easement.
Okay,
all the
so
way
it
through the
shouldn't do much.
properties. So it
Okay.
shouldn't have, just at the beginning and end is where we get off easement to try and to get onto the drain, and we
well,
talk to those
yeah, there'd be a
landowners.
couple different properties they could use to access it, so I didn't know
Yes.
how they were
No.
gonna
Normally,
access it
if
by
we're-
my house.
If we're gonna be going through a property that's not on the easement, you'll be talking to me before we do that.
Okay, because like I,
You're not working on all the open ditch all the way down through it, though. So
No.
you're on an open part. So
yes,
they
I'm
might-
on an
they
open
might
part
not
of the
be able
ditch,
to-
so you may not even be working on it.
We probably won't even be on you.
Okay.
Well, you would think, because our drain, it drains across
Yeah.
all of our property.
Mine used to- yeah, mine used to flood.
Into that drain, if we get a half inch of rain, that drain is underwater. It's silted in.
Yeah.
We got 16 inches from the bottom of that creek to the top of that drain. And my neighbor to the west, his barn floods out all the time, and we have to drag his welders and everything to higher ground. And we actually tapped into that drain off his property, and it will not drain because it's always underwater.
Yeah.
It needs to be dredged out right there because it gets clear to the top.
Yeah,
Tracks
it used
water.
to, my property used to flood really bad, but
Yeah.
my husband,
You
I don't
guys
know
had
what
a-
he did,
you
but
had a
my husband
collapse
passed, so
and
he
fixed
did something to fix it, and we don't flood back there anymore.
Well, here, later on, I'd like to know what you're talking about, because
Yeah.
I'm not sure where
Yeah,
you're
because
at.
he's a few doors down from
Yeah, I'm
me,
just
so.
west of Vic.
Yeah.
Theirs collapsed one time, and there was a blazer come in and redo your drain because it was backing up
I don't
in your
know,
backyard.
my husband did it and he
They had
passed,
to
so
have
I
it
don't know.
redone because you're responsible for what crosses your property.
The regulated drain is what we're responsible for keeping flowing. That's your outlet. If your private tile plugs up that goes to that regulated drain, that's your responsibility.
That
Yes,
outlet
unfortunately.
Comes out into the Coons ditch right there, is always underwater.
And I would like to look at where you're
Okay.
talking exactly, because we're gonna clean up some of that grade problem.
Right on the creek.
When we come through the top end, that's part of the problem, is some of those crossings
Yeah.
aren't at grade, and we gotta redo them.
Right.
But we wanna get it cleaned to see truly what's happening so that we can address those crossings. So that's why we're splitting this up into multiple things, trying to keep the costs down.
So you're dredging all of the open drain?
Not all of it, just the northern portion of it, through the first, how many thousand feet is that, Paul? About 1,000 feet, so from where it crosses 350 going east, 1,000 feet back to the south is what we're gonna be brushing and cleaning.
So how far out, so you said you're taking down that open drain right there. I'm at 350 and 350. So that open drain right there, where you guys are gonna be fixing the curve,
Okay, yep.
right?
You're just south of that.
Just south
You
of
don't
that.
like me spraying your yard?
I do not.
Yes.
I do not.
I remember the conversation.
Yes, I do too, very well. And, so are you taking all of the trees out? You're just gonna chop them all down?
No, we're only gonna be taking out a few of the trees at that corner, because we are going to upgrade that corner with
Right.
riprap and fix that problem right there. Your particular property, we should not be on at all.
So you're not cutting trees and you're not dredging?
Not through your section, no. Not as part of this project, no. Now, it's been 2017, I believe, is when we did your section. Yeah, beginning of 2017, so we shouldn't have too much problems on the dredging through there. At some point, we'll have to go back through and dredge it, and that's why I explained to you that we do spray, we try to keep the woody vegetation down so that this cost, we don't have to come back here and do this again.
Well, you should probably up your herbicide, whatever it is, because it didn't kill any of my trees. You damaged them when you sprayed, but you didn't kill any of them. So, and a lot of my natives and my other plants and stuff like that. That's why I have a problem with it. But it doesn't matter.
I understand that.
I'm just, if you're spraying to prevent cutting down trees, it seems like it should probably kill the trees. I don't, right?
It keeps what I can tell you is we've had some problems with our spray program in some really hot years, and it damaged the trees, but it didn't get them killed. And we've changed some of those mixes up so that doesn't happen again. And since we only spray every other year, some of those trees do get too large to keep them sprayed and killed down. And that's what's happened on this particular ditch. But yes, when we come back through to re-dredge all that, we will be cutting some of those trees down again.
Cool. So is there any way I can get less than $2,800? Like, that's a lot, if you're not doing anything. It's civil tax, that's all you have to pay.
Right. No, this is honestly the cheapest I could possibly get this project.
$2,800.
If was what your parcel was, that's over 5 years.
$2,842.99, and I will be paying $568.60 per year.
Per year.
For 5 years.
Correct, and then it will drop down from there.
So $200, I saved $300.
Correct.
Woo. Okay, cool.
When are they
So-
gonna start doing this? When doing the ditch, you know when?
Yeah.
So if the reconstruction moves forward, we will be doing it this fall. As far as the open ditch work, the maintenance work that we have scheduled, it should happen anytime between now and the end of August.
I got a bridge across the ditch that I can move.
Yep.
I'll say one thing about the whole price of things. I will say, if there's anything to be lucky about, is that this other fund was available.
The $60,000.
$60,000 is available from some COVID fund.
COVID fund, yes.
That it needs, so that if there's any,
Yeah,
if there's silver lining to it, that's it.
If we don't
True,
move
that's
forward
true.
with this, that money goes to the next project.
We have to have to do drainage. It's just sad that it took this long for you guys to address it.
Yes, it is. I agree.
When do you vote on it to pass?
After the public hearing, I encourage the board to take all of your comments under review and in 2 weeks, vote upon whether or not they move forward with the project.
So will we be notified that it's approved?
Your notification is to come back in 2 weeks unless the board decides to vote on it tonight, and then, which they could do, and then I just gotta change paperwork and they would sign the paperwork in 2 weeks. But you could vote on it tonight if you wanted to, but that, normally, after a reconstruction or through this process, I encourage the board to take everything said under advisement and really think about it. Because what you guys took the time to come and talk about is important. Even though I know a lot of times people think we don't listen, we truly do. And we try to do what's best.
And I would say that we had the town hall meeting, and I don't know how everybody wasn't aware of it. We had a good showing that night. There was a lot of people there. And I thought after the town hall meeting that the majority of people was for it. But obviously, we didn't know the cost at that time, so.
You talking about January?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it all made sense. It all, it was told me.
And we've had town
Dollar
hall,
amount was still up in the air.
we've had town hall meetings that we never went to a public hearing because we could tell by the action, the people, that they were not interested. So, that's how it got to this point. And your point's well taken. That's federal money. The $60,000 are federal monies that came in during the COVID time. And those are at the very end. There was, Howard County got several $1 million, whatever, for different kinds of projects. That's where that money's left for that. What's left is the $60,000 that we need to get off the books. And you've paid for it one way or another, so you might as well take it. I mean, at that point, it's kind of what you said. So, yeah, you're right. It is a silver lining if there is such thing, yes.
Ma'am in back, if you want to come up. Can you state your name and address?
3446 South 350 West.
Can you come up to the microphone so she can hear it?
We live at the corner, we live at 3446 South 350 West, where the barrier bank,
The ditch turns.
yeah. What is a barrier bank? What,
We're gonna be rip-wrapping that corner, so we're gonna make that to where the water will turn without it eating your bank away. We will be taking a few of your trees down right there, so we can
those
get
two
in there.
walnut trees that,
Yep,
thank you.
and maybe the tree that you asked me to take down a few years ago. Wasn't there one back in the yard a little bit?
Yes.
A big one in the middle of your yard that
Yeah,
you
you've
wanted down?
already- The road's already collapsed once, and you took care of all that and put a new pipe underneath the road and all that. Now, the rocks and stuff, are we talking like those big white rocks that
Big
are
ro-
down
big-
like
yes.
26 when they redid that?
Yes. Big-
Okay.
Big white rocks.
So those will be there.
Yes, ma'am.
Just
On the corner, just to
on that corner.
to get the
two
water to
walnut trees
turn.
are gone.
Yep.
Okay.
And it sounds like you're weeping.
You what?
And it sounds like you're weeping willow.
Is that the tree you wanted gone? The weeping willow?
No, no, no.
Oh, no, we aren't doing that one. I thought there was another one close,
There's-
right in the middle.
They took a big one out right on the top of the ditch. The stump
Yeah.
is still there.
Oh, okay.
Now, there's another one on the ditch. It's not as big. It's right on the edge of the ditch where the roots are exposed and and it's starting to rot away.
Right.
So.
When we cut the trees,
You may need to take that one.
yeah, when we cut the trees down, any roots that are exposed usually end up rotting away.
Yeah, the weeping willow is like
Yeah, no.
way
if it-
back in the center of the yard.
It's just right there on that corner is,
Right.
I was thinking there was another tree that you had talked to me about,
Yeah, there
maybe
was
7,
eventually,
8
but
years
they've been-
ago,
They've been done, the ash borer
killed them.
killed them.
Yep.
So they've been kind of going, you've been out to our property
Yep.
several times.
I know. And that's why I wanted to make sure that was in this project, because it is a problem and it needs to be addressed.
Super. I'm just glad those walnut trees will be gone.
Yes.
We could have 25 5-gallon buckets of walnuts out of our.
Do you sell
yard,
them?
John.
You could have paid your ditch assessment with that.
There you
No,
go.
you can't.
It's not about throwing them in the ditch, but we thought, no, we don't want nothing to plug that ditch.
Not
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments?
Hey, Greg, I got one quick one. When you get time, can you come and see me and I'll show you where that drains across the 5 properties, right there on that end of that, it's all sealed it in?
Yes.
The only place, 'cause
I'll-
it's not draining.
I'll get your information from you here after the meeting.
That's all I got, thank you.
If there's no, if,
Look at his place, if you want to stop at my place and look at that big huge tree,
I'll be happy to do that.
you may call and stop by.
Okay.
if there's no other public comment, I would, what's the wishes of this board at this time?
I think we heard a lot to think about, so I think we ought to take it under advisement.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Is there a motion by Mr. Braid to take it under advisement? Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Olery. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. So, this will be back on the agenda for Monday, July 6th at 5 o'clock.
So if you want to come to that, this is your notice.
5 o'clock. I make a motion to go back to the regular drainage board at this time. I need a motion,
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Bray,
Second.
second by Mr. Allery. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, we're back in the regular drainage board. Greg, Raymond Stump, joint board with Clinton County.
So you should have a letter from Clinton County Surveyor. The Raymond Stump Regulated Drain is a drain that's controlled by Clinton County. The funds go to Clinton County. We have one parcel inside the watershed here in Howard County. Do what? Oh, each member didn't get a copy. I think just maybe you did. Here, I'll just give you, I got 2 of these. Here's a letter from Clinton County. This is the letter that I need back from Clinton County. Basically, the watershed, they're gonna raise the assessment, and they are requesting us to waive our right. And this keeps us from having to do a joint board. I've drafted a letter for Mr. Lipinski to sign, granting, waiving our rights to this watershed. They will keep us informed, they will notify our owners in the county of the hearing, and they're gonna go through the same concept that we're doing here. They'll have an assessment increase on it.
Need a motion to
Yes, please.
accept this letter?
Well, a motion to waive
Waive our rights.
our rights to a joint board.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion by Mr. Allery. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bray. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I say aye as well. Did Beth Lucas ever
I don't
show
see.
up? No Beth Lucas? No Beth Lucas? Okay.
I'd recommend continuing to the next meeting for her, and we'll notify her that that's been the
Okay.
case.
Any other business or any other public comments?
Continue it or table it? Well, I guess since it's not even, it was just on the agenda, so it's completely up to you.
Continue it. Continue it till next week.
Any other business? Any public comment? Not, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Allery, second by Mr. Bray. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Okay.
Brad, all you guys, thanks for everything. Yeah, I know you too. You've done a lot of wells for me.